Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and iOS 11.2.2 is running on my iPhone 10, and I have iOS 11.2.5 Beta 5 running on my 8 Plus. Now these have both been out for a few days, so I thought I'd do a follow-up, and like I have in the past, I asked many of you on Twitter what you had as far as an experience with these updates. Now, obviously, I can't use all the phones that are out there on iOS 11 and the betas, such as the 7 Plus or all the way back to the 5S. I can't possibly use all of those, so I kind of find out what your experience is and try and share it with everyone here. Now, first of all, with iOS 11.2.2, it's been pretty stable for me. I haven't had too many issues. I've been using the 10 and the 8 Plus back and forth, and the 10 has been pretty stable. I haven't had to reboot it a single time. I haven't had any issues as far as that goes. Stability, speed, things like that. When I went to CES, I actually used this as my video camera for that video. If you haven't seen that, I'll link it in this video up above. But this is what I used for that video camera the entire time because it has a really good camera. Now, the 8 Plus does as well, but both of these lenses are stabilized, so that makes it a little bit better. Now, also, this has been incredibly stable, incredibly fast, no issues whatsoever, and everything's nice and smooth. I normally have to reboot these if they glitch. Now, there is one issue I ran into, and that has to do with Apple CarPlay. With Apple CarPlay on 11.2.2, I had random things happen, such as Pocket Casts here for podcasting. This wouldn't open properly, and I thought it was maybe my car stereo, but it wasn't. It was this phone, and I had to close the app and reopen it, and that didn't even seem to fix it. So there's something different there. I'm not sure what it is, and I'd be curious to hear if any of you experienced that. Now, battery on this has been really good. Actually, battery on both has been great. iOS 11.2 and newer, basically, battery has been great, at least on the 8 Plus and the 10. I haven't had any complaints whatsoever, although this has been on the charger a little bit more recently, so you're not going to see a real-world use. It's only been used 30 minutes since pulling it off of the charger. This one is down to 35%, but anyway, both of these feel about the same. I haven't really had any other issues other than the CarPlay thing. Let me see what you said, though. Now, I've gone through this. I asked how it's been, and 638 of you responded. So I always appreciate that since we can kind of share that with everybody here. So out of all the people that responded, most of you, well, in this case, said it was better but not perfect. It's great. Only 12% of you this time said it was terrible, and 13% said others. So that's a pretty good move forward. We're getting to the point where iOS 11 isn't awful for most people. Only 12% of you out of 638. Now, on the 6S, people are saying that the beta is perfect, so that's a good sign. Let's see what else. It's okay, as always, on my iPhone 8 Plus. 2.2 has been okay for me on the 6S Plus. I'm using a 6 Plus, 6S. Let's go all the way down here to the bottom. Let's see, we've got more replies. So iPhone 6, iOS 11.2.2 is better than 10.3.3, and battery's okay, but only lasts 2.5 hours on screen. That might be a battery replacement issue. I'm not sure. I'm not sure at this point as far as that part goes, but that could be something where you need to replace the battery. Some people are saying it's really laggy still, and they even had a battery. So it looks pretty varied on the older devices. iOS 6, or iPhone 6 rather, seems to be much better than before. 5S a little bit laggy. Let's see if there's anybody. iPhone 7, 12.2, I think you mean 11.2.2 is working almost perfect. Love this update. So I'm getting a lot of good replies. Most of the time, it's been pretty good for most people, I think. iPhone 10, can't see any difference. All the way from Poland, that's pretty great. I know a lot of you are from all around the world, and that always amazes me where you're from. And let's see. This is one thing that I found interesting, is people say better, but RAM management is still not good enough. I'm curious what you're using to say that RAM management is good or bad, because that's not something that you can usually quantify and see specifically on a device. So I'd be curious to see what you have to say as far as that goes. Are you using an app for that? When you say RAM management, are you saying just because it's laggy? I'd be curious to know what you mean by that. Other than that, though, I think it's been a pretty good update, and I think with iOS 11.2.5, when it's released to the public, we're at the point where we're almost at the 10.3.3 stage as far as reliability, but there's still some things out there, and that battery management tool obviously is going to need to be included. Whatever Apple means by that, I'm assuming that's iOS 11.3, and then iOS 12, I'm thinking there's going to be a big redesign. There's been some news stories about that, and a lot of people think that that may be the case. I don't know what that means, but hopefully we see something more iPhone 10 centric, because it feels like to me that iOS is kind of just thrown onto the iPhone 10, and other than the gesture swiping thing, it could use a few more refinements. It's not that big of a deal, but it just feels like Apple pushed this quickly, and it might not be what it was meant for. And Johnny Ive is the main designer for Apple, or head of design, and he even said that iOS 12 is really going to bring some significant changes to iPhone 10. So whatever that means, we're not sure, but I can't wait to see that. Let me know your thoughts about these follow-up videos and things like this in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.